What is going on, my nerds? Welcome back to JD's Nerdverse. We are doing a ranking video from Pokemon 52 through 101, ranking the second third of Pokemon I've played through as so far on my playthrough challenge. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, and you'll get videos not like this all the time, the more of them are playthroughs, but I do like to recap what I've done and go over what I've learned about Pokemon and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're gonna rank them from worst to best. Obviously, if you're looking at this, F tier is the worst, and then all the way up to S tier, those are my the two best will be in S tier. So the worst Pokemon I've played through as probably in the entire game so far is this Pokemon right here, Onix. Onix clocked in with a time of 2 hours, 36 minutes, 23 seconds. And honestly, it got a little bit of a mercy roll from me. Kept having to leave the Elite Four, go out and train, and I kept pausing the timer for that. This should have been over a 3-hour run. It got a little bit of a mercy from me. One of the worst playthroughs ever. This and Zubat have been the toughest playthroughs I've ever had, because Zubat just has no moves, so progress through the game's hard. Onix has plenty of moves, but its typing and its stats are just hot garbage. Its typing is 4 times weak to 2 different things, water and grass. So any kind of water or grass move it hits it's an automatic knockout. And you don't have good special. Defense is okay. Attack, it's just nothing great about this Pokemon. I had to get to level 85 to beat the game with. So this stands alone as the worst Pokemon I've played through as so far. Honestly, if I played through Zubat again, I could probably get the time knocked down to about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So Zubat's like 2 hours and 38 minutes. I'm pretty sure I can knock a lot of time off of that. I don't know how I would be able to knock a lot of time off this playthrough. Onix was horrible. So next one, moving down the list, is Voltorb. Voltorb actually isn't too bad, but I'm noticing a trend with electric type Pokemon in this game. Voltorb clocked in within a time of 2 hours and 5 minutes and 45 seconds, so not really that bad. It wasn't that bad of a playthrough when you compare it to like Onix, but still it wasn't a great playthrough by any stretch of the imagination. No, but again, not bad. But as you're going to see, the next one, which is Magnemite, came in at 2 hours and 59 minutes. Now, 1 hour and 59 minutes, and if you look at Pikachu came out at like 1 hour and 55 minutes. So all the electric types seem to be bunching into this time frame, and probably because it's hard to get by the first gym. Now, eventually, I'm going to do a versus series where it's Magneton versus Electrode, and I think they both start with Sonic Boom. So I think I can see a little bit of a better output from these Pokemon by playing through with their evolved states, because they'll have extra moves. But those two runs were very, very tough, but Magnemite did prevail as the faster one. It has a slightly better move pool. Not early, it actually gets a move a lot later than Voltorb, which caused it to have like a slower start, but it caught up pretty quick because of its the moves it gets. The next one on this list is we're jumping down to is Abra, which it's weird to me that Abra is on the same tier as Magnemite, but there's only like a 2-minute difference between Magnemite and Abra. Abra's issue comes from the fact it starts the game with just teleport. So you have to diminish all your teleports before you even get a chance to level up. And I'm going to adjust that real quick right there. There we go. And you have to diminish all those just to struggle, and you have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it until you get to level 16. That's why this Pokemon struggles. After that, the playthrough flies. It really does. But you have to get to that point first. The next one on this list, which is crazy that this Pokemon has a time 15 minutes faster than Abra, but Grimer. Grimer was a solid playthrough. It has a very limited selection of moves. Do not get me wrong, but it has enough moves to get through the game. It has a really good badge booster and acid armor. So yeah, Grimer was not a bad. It was a lot less bad than I thought in my mind it would be. But yeah, that's the Grimer playthrough. Nothing spectacular about it, but also not too bad either. Growlithe. So a lot of fire type Pokemon hang out around this time period. Hour and 42 minutes, and then the Ponyta's the next one. It's an hour and 41 minutes. But what I've noticed about fire types, if it's not an upright fire type Pokemon, you're gonna struggle. Charmander / Charmeleon / Charizard has the fastest time I've ever played through as at 1 hour and 3 minutes. And I have a playthrough coming up soon, Magmar, and those two Pokemon have some similarities because they're upright Pokemon. They can learn Mega Punch that helps them get through the middle, the second part of the second gym area. So Ponyta, Vulpix, Growlithe, those Pokemon have some disadvantages because they can't access those things. So moving on, I already said this one was Ponyta. Ponyta clocks in at 1 hour and 41 minutes and 8 seconds. So not much faster than Growlithe, but fast enough that it mattered. And then, like I already went over fire types. So fire types, all the fire types are logging in around this time period. Vulpix was. The only ones that aren't so far is Charmander, but Charmander stands upright. Can learn Mega Punch. So that's the move that can get through the Misty area. That's the move that can help you get your second gym leader, or I'm sorry, second rival. And Ponyta, Growlithe, and Vulpix don't have that. It's a trend I'm noticing with fire types in Gen 1. Moving on, and which is crazy because Psyduck, no one looks at Psyduck says, yeah, that's a Pokemon that could do great, but it's better than both these fire types and Abra. And even Grimer. I mean, I don't expect Grimer to be very good. But Psyduck has, he doesn't have actual psychic typing. It's kind of weird. And it evolves into Golduck. It does not have psychic typing, but it does have access to psychic moves. So that is a benefit to it. It does pretty well. It really does. It may be a weird Pokemon, but it does very well based on stats, based on its evolutions. Moving on, Geodude is next. So that's one that actually surprises me as well, because considering its typing. You have a couple types that don't really do so hot, but when you look at the electric types versus rock like rock types, you got to counter which one's going to have the bigger struggles. But Geodude clocked in at a time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 6 seconds. So honestly, a very fast, respectable time. I could probably knock about 5 minutes off that if I played through again. So it wouldn't be a sub 1 hour and 30 minute run. I mean, maybe it's possible, with the right strategy and planning perfectly. The next one, which actually I technically lost the time for, but I've gone back and just found an accurate guesstimation for the time, and that's Tentacle. Came in at 1 hour and 37 minutes and 35 seconds. Tentacle has a good typing because it's water poison, so it has some pretty good things. It gets acid pretty early, so that helps it progress. And I'm pretty sure if some time can be knocked off of this, but not a lot. It has, like I said, good things going for it. It's typing, but still didn't get it done in under an hour and 30 minutes. We're almost at that threshold where we're hitting that hour and 30 minute mark. Let's go next one. All right, next one there is Shelter, and I'm going to adjust Shelter a little bit here. So Shelter comes in at a time of 1 hour and 35 minutes and 18 seconds. Now here's the thing about Shelter. First off, it's in a very slow level up group. It's in the slowest level up group in the game. 2, spent a lot of time getting by Brock. So we got this time, and we spent so much time trying to get by Brock. So Shelter was pretty solid playthrough. Still, like I said, not under an hour and 30 minutes. All in all, a respectable playthrough at a 1 hour and 35 minutes. And again, this is another Pokemon where I'm going to play through as the Evolve version and in a Versus series to see how fast I can get through. But a lot of these Pokemon, if you just don't have Brock, the complexity of the route of the gameplay changes drastically. So a lot of these I want to get fully evolved and have them go up against other Pokemon that are also fully evolved, and so we can eliminate the Brock factor, basically. Next one is one I just played through pretty recently, and that is Krabby. Krabby was pretty solid. The only problem with Krabby is you start the game with Bubble. So the early part of the game is a little bit of a struggle because you have to get through... Bubble. With Bubble, it's a struggle. You have to get through Brock's gym, which isn't an issue, but it's all the other trainers that we have to do, all the other requirements I have. Then you have to get through Route 3 with Bubble, and Bubble's not very powerful. It's nothing that's super effective against. So once you get Water Gun and then Vice Grip, you're pretty solid with this Pokemon. It's just getting through that point, and how fast you can do it is really the challenge here. Next Pokemon is I went the wrong direction. There we go. Bellsprout. I actually have done a Bellsprout playthrough where I tried to optimize some time because I made some errors in the playthrough. So Bellsprout, what I did was with Bellsprout, I played through and I basically didn't evolve Bellsprout into Weepinbell until like 40 something. And the reason why is I didn't know we could learn Body Slam when we evolved into Victreebel. I thought the only physically damaging move we'd have was Slam, so I'm like, okay, let's get this move quicker. I prolonged evolving, which, you know, kind of hurt the time a little bit because we weren't winning battles as well as we should have. So by not evolving, we had lesser stats. By having lesser stats, our damages did more, and we took more. We did less, and we took more damage. And yeah, I didn't learn until after I did the playthrough that once you evolve into Victreebel, you can actually learn the TM for Body Slam. So Slam was irrelevant. I can actually evolve quicker, so I think that's going to result in a faster run. So that's another. It's a playthrough I want to redo because I feel like that's a little bit of my negligence there, not just researching a little bit more. But comes in a time of 1 hour and 29 minutes and 49 seconds. So very respectable. Next one is Meowth. Meowth is kind of a... I really don't like this Pokemon personally. But it comes in at a time of 1 hour and 25 minutes and 1 second. I'm sorry, 1 hour and 29 minutes and 9 seconds. So, pretty fast Pokemon altogether. It is a normal type, and believe it or not, normal types actually have huge advantages in this game. But it was an okay playthrough. I'm not considering and wax politically about Meowth for 10 minutes. It was a solid playthrough. Meowth has solid speed. It got some pretty good moves. Good enough moves to get through the game and progress. But it got it in right under that 1 hour and 30 minute mark. So the next one I want to go over is Slowpoke. Being the fact it's the slowest Pokemon in the game, I thought this run may be a little slower, but it's actually pretty fast. 1 hour and 25 minutes and 8 seconds. It starts the game with confusion. So the fact that it's slow really does hinder it a little bit. With, like I said, it starts with confusion. It's a solid move to start the game with, and then shortly after that you get Water Gun. So you have 2 stab moves from the get-go. You're Water Psychic, but it's just the fact that it doesn't go first really can be detrimental to it, and that's why this Pokemon came out at 1 hour and 25 minutes. If I played through again, it probably knocked some time off, honestly. But that's where we're at with this playthrough. Wasn't bad, wasn't great, wasn't it was pretty good compared to the rest of this list. But pretty solid all around. Okay. Next one is Mankey. Mankey, the fighting monkey Pokemon. It's exactly not what it's called. There we go. Let me adjust that. There we go. And you can go this way a little bit. Okay, there we go. And there we go. Sorry, I'm adjusting, trying to make it look nice. Mankey came in at 1 hour and 25 minutes and 1 second. Very solid playthrough. Fighting type actually gets kind of the Shaft in Generation 1 doesn't have a really good high-end fighting move. I think the best one it can get is Submission. I don't think we use that in this playthrough. We had to use other moves. So the fact that a lot of that this fighting type comes in and doesn't have access to great moves like other Pokemon do, and still put up a time that's faster than most Pokemon I've played through as, to be honest. It's probably in the top majority. Very, very respectable, very proud. And so the next one is also a fighting type with the same kind of disadvantage. Not having great typing, not having great moves. But Machop comes in at 1 hour and 22 minutes. Very solid playthrough. I wouldn't say very fast, but it's fast compared to a lot. So it's being able to evolve and grow stats is very important. And this Pokemon, like, it really does like hit its stride like about mid-late game, like right at the end of the middle of the part of the game. It really hits its stride. Has a lot of access to a lot of moves. So yeah, Machop comes in 1 hour, 22 minutes, 24 seconds. Very respectable time by little Machop there. Then Seel. So this one actually surprised me, and I've actually started to get an opinion on some certain types of Pokemon. Ice types seem to do very well in Generation 1. Look at Shelter, look at Dugong. I have a couple ice types coming up that are going to blast through a bunch of these times. I guarantee it. Seel clocks in at 1 hour and 16 minutes and 28 seconds. A very fast time. Seel is usually a Pokemon that's kind of a joke Pokemon, but it's actually a Pokemon that has legitimately get some good moves. Like I said, this is one I'm curious to play through with Dugong, because Dugong actually I think starts with Aurora Beam. I'm curious how the game will progress when you have Aurora Beam early and not Headbutt. So very solid playthrough with Seel. 1 hour and 60 minutes, 28 seconds again. And then it's crazy that you see this Pokemon who looks like it's a dunce Pokemon. It looks dumb. And then it goes toe to toe with a Pokemon like Drowsy, who evolves into Hypno. and it's just a lot more of a powerful Pokemon, and it literally only finished 1 minute faster than Seal. So Drowsy clocked in at 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 51 seconds. So it actually wasn't even a full minute. It's only about roughly 30 seconds, about 40 seconds. So Drowsy was good because Drowsy has Confusion pretty early. It has Pound. It has Psychic. The problem with Drowsy is you just don't have a good third move. I'm sorry, good fourth move. You get a badge boosting move, but there's nothing it pairs with. If it had a fourth good move that you could use, it would be helpful for coverage purposes. And I think that's what slowed this Pokemon down. It didn't have a lot of coverage. It was either Psychic or Bust, basically. Yeah, so that's why Drowsy, I thought it would get in under a minute and 10 minutes, but it didn't, obviously. So moving on to the next part. Next Pokemon is Farfetch'd. Now this one, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up this one. Dudo. Farfetch'd and Dudo both clocked in literally like 7 seconds from each other. So I consider these both pretty much the same time, if I'm being honest. And the reason why I consider them both about the same time, it's like 7 seconds can be me just stopping and taking a drink of my drink. It could be anything like that. And Farfetch'd was a solid playthrough. It's an hour and 13 minutes. Completely flipped the script on what I thought was going to be the trend with flying type Pokemon in Generation 1. The flying type Pokemon I played through before this was Pidgey and Spearow, and both of them came out close to a 2-hour run. So I thought it was going to be a trend. And a lot of other flying type did do good. Zubat was a flying type, did horrible. Farfetch'd and Dudo both kind of like completely did a 180 on me, and that's why now I'm of the belief that maybe it's not so much the typing, it's just like move set, things like that. Like Pidgey didn't get Peck, and Spearow doesn't have access to Body Slam or Swords Dance. Okay, Dudo has access to Body Slam and has access to Tri Attack, whereas Farfetch'd gets access to, doesn't get Drill Peck like Dudo, but what it does get access to is a Swords Dance. Swords Dance drastically compensates. Farfetch'd, of all the flying type in Gen 1 fully evolved, has the worst stats, but it was literally 7 seconds slower than a Pokemon that has like way better stats in it, and an evolution to help boost everything. So good Pokemon. And in Dudo, I'm curious to see what would happen with Dugtrio in a playthrough, because Dugtrio has a lot of access to moves, and it just has better stats. It's faster. So I think Dugtrio versus Farfetch'd, it wouldn't be much of a comparison. I think Dugtrio would blast through, because Farfetch'd's stats really can hold it back. But the fact that it badge boosts with Swords Dance, so your attack skyrockets and all your other stats go up too, is a really big advantage for Farfetch'd. So now we are getting down to our final two. So my favorite Pokemon in Generation 1 is Poliwag. Well, / Poliwhirl / Poliwrath. So this is my favorite Pokemon in Gen 1. Poliwag clocked in a time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 34 seconds. Now, in the playthrough, I know for sure there's some things I could have done faster to get through with this Pokemon faster. And I may do a playthrough again and try to get some better time out of it. So, it may happen. Just not right now. It clocks in at a respectable time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, 34 seconds. So I don't think it's dire that I go through this Pokemon. But my favorite Pokemon, it did very well. There are some places I know that I slowed down, and I know now that just not to do it, and I could probably knock another maybe 5 minutes off this run. But the best Pokemon, I wouldn't say the best, but the best time was Ghastly. I don't think it's the best Pokemon. I still think Poliwag is better, and that may be a little bit of bias here. But what do I mean that what do I mean by that? By Ghastly is not the best. Well, Ghastly isn't the best because Ghastly only gets through the early part of the game fast because of his typing. The fact that normal type Pokemon cannot touch Ghastly is a massive advantage for Ghastly. So pretty much the first third of the game, he can't get hit. And the fact that the first third of the game he can't even get hit, and he still only comes in 1 minute faster than Poliwag, kind of is detrimental to Ghastly, if I'm being honest. Its moveset early is horrible. It gets Lick, it gets Confuse Ray, and it also gets Nightshade. So Nightshade's okay. It gets stronger as you get stronger, but Lick is horrible. You're going to run out of power points for Nightshade. You got to heal more often. So it's a really big managing of power points with this Pokemon. With this Pokemon also, it also has a horrible strategy to win. It's a lot of luck based. A lot of this Pokemon, it's not Psychic, it's Ghost type. So when you get the move Psychic, it's not going to give you the advantage of having the stab like other Psychic Pokemon have. So that's the first downside to its best move is not even the same type. Its second best move is also not even the same type. Dream Eater is considered Psychic. So Psychic, 2 Psychic moves, it has no Psychic advantage there. And you have to rely solely on Hypnosis and Dream Eater a lot. Not solely, like you can use Psychic, but it doesn't have a lot of versatility in its moveset. You're a one-trick pony, basically, when you play through as Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. You don't have access to a lot of other things. So you have to use Hypnosis, and you have to use Dream Eater, or you have to rely on Psychic, and not everything. Psychic's not good against everything. So there's just a lot of things about it, and I think I lucked into the 1 hour and 8 minute run because this Pokemon just does not have a lot of good things going for it. Other than its typing avoids a lot of those things. So yeah, that's my list. So that is my list of the playthroughs I've done over the last couple months. And yeah, I think it's about 20 Pokemon. 23 Pokemon here. So these 23, the 2 at the top are Poliwag and Ghastly. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I can get Poliwag done in under an hour and 5 minutes if I tried, just because of its typing. I don't know about Dugtrio, and I think Dugtrio, the Evolve version, could do it if I started with the game with that, but I don't think I could do it with Dudo. It takes too long to get its second move. So, but that's my list. What do you think of the list? This is not the ranking of who's best. This is just a ranking of time. Like I said, I think the best ones, I think Poliwag was one of the best. I actually think Seal was very good. I think if I started with Dugong, I think I can get that done in under an hour and 5 minutes pretty easily. Dugong's got great stats and moves. So, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you heard some weird breathing, like I said, I'm still very sick, but I'm trying to get this out because I need to get back into playing the game rather than talking about it. So, like, share, subscribe, let me know what you think. Have a good one, and see ya.